Story 1. Update: my 24 female sister 28 female is convinced that her husband 26 male is the father of my baby despite a DNA test proving he isn't and identifying the real father. Original post: the real father can't legally claim her son without causing himself issues, so we agreed to an informal arrangement where he didn't claim him but still paid support. I gave my sister his name, and he got on a video call with her and verified that he was the father. He just can't do a formal DNA test or claim her son. To clarify, my formal DNA test, I mean one that would be court-ordered and resulted in him taking parental rights, while the informal test was done privately, and we have agreed not to take it to a court. Despite the actual father telling my sister that he was the father and the DNA test, my sister is still convinced that the father is her husband, as they share a significant physical resemblance that the bio dad also shares, other than the physical resemblance, which I would say is debatable, as he's a baby that looks like a potato most days. My sister suspects that her husband and I had an affair because her husband and I have a lot in common and were friends before they got together, and he's really good with my son. We're also living together, so she thinks there was an opportunity. We told her until we were blue in the face that her husband wasn't the father. We got another test through the same facility that did the test on the real father to prove it, but because it was done by the same facility, my sister then suggested that we switch the names on the test results. At this point, I had no idea what to do. She's being incredibly difficult for no good reason. She won't listen to us, and we don't know how to deal with it, as we feel that she's locked into this idea and won't drop it despite all the evidence that we've given her. Any ideas? Now for some comments before reading the update. Honestly, if she doesn't care to listen to you or to reason, maybe cut her off for a bit. That's a harmful thing to be saying about someone. Does she have kids? Is your baby the first family's grandkid? Part of the problem is that we live together, so there's only so much cutting off I can do. Neither of us can move out either. This is the first grandchild and the first baby for several years. I was actually the youngest family member overall before my son was born. But our parents aren't in our lives. Mom passed, dad sucks, so he's not exactly a grandchild. Get a binding agreement with the father written by your own lawyer. Informal isn't going to cut it. If he changes his mind, gets caught, or God forbid dies, and you and your child aren't provided for in his will or with insurance, it can be amicable and confidential, but it cannot be informal. In terms of your sister, tell her that you will get a final paternity test at another hospital or clinic after she starts seeing a therapist for individual counseling and couples counseling. The agreement itself needs to be informal, but he's making formal arrangements. There are lump sums involved, a trust, and a few other things that need that even if something should happen to him, our child will be provided for. We told my sister that we would go to another private clinic and pay for a new test. But she said that as we would be paying for the clinic, they would say whatever we wanted them to say with results. I think this is the perfect storm. Judging from your replies, it seems likely the father of your child is married. If sister knows this, she'll already be reasonably prone to suspicion, especially if this is out of character for you. That mixed with trouble in the marriage and some mental health issues seems to be the problem. Either way, it's her issue to deal with now. You've done more than enough to calm her suspicions. If she wants to pay for another test, so be it. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with you. Now for the update. Update. While I didn't fear for the safety of my child or myself, several commenters on the last post did, and when I showed my sister's husband the post, he admitted that he had found a secret camera in their bedroom a few weeks ago. When I heard that we agreed to deal with this now, we talked to my sister yesterday saying that if she didn't give us a rational reason for her behavior, we would both go and stay with friends separately until she saw a mental health professional. And we knew it was safe for all of us to be around her. She locked herself in her room. When her husband asked to be let into the room so he could get his bag to stay with his friend, they began arguing, and between rounds of arguing with him, she would come crying to me literally. Between us, we patched together what we think is the truth. While my sister has always told me that she was on the fence about kids, she told her husband that she definitely wanted them. truth is, she has never wanted children, and doesn't think that she ever will. She knew this before she and her husband got together, but lied thinking that, after they married, she could talk him out of wanting kids. She managed to convince him that they should hold off on kids until I had a baby, which prompted him to ask her about kids again. She realized that she had to leave him, but then she lost her job, so he was supporting the both of them. A no-fault divorce requires they live apart for years before filing. My sister could no longer afford this, so she realized it would have to be an at-fault divorce, and it would have to be his fault. She never believed that he was actually the father of my child, but she thought that by freezing out both of us, combined with her accusing us of cheating, being crammed into a small space together, him being good with my son and our past friendship, it would all lead to us actually having an affair that she would catch on camera. She could then divorce him due to cheating and rush the process and push for alimony on the grounds that he cheated on her with me while she was unemployed, and without alimony she would be stuck living with me, her husband's affair partner. The only flaw in her plan was that neither of us would ever do that to her. Her husband is currently staying with friends until he figures out what he wants to do. I am at the house still with my sister and my son. Things are tense, but she's agreed to sell the house, though she isn't happy about it. She has stayed in her area of the house all day, and I'm hoping she keeps to this. Story 2. My wife named her son after her first love, and I had no idea. Plus update. Original post. This is my throwaway account because she knows my main account. My son is 5. About 2 days ago we were out shopping and ran into a high school friend of hers. She was catching up when she told her friend that we had a son. When the old friend asked his name, my wife hesitated and I told her. She had a strange look on her face, then said, "You mean like your ex-boyfriend? Our son's name is very unique to the point that I've never met another person with the same name." Now she refuses to talk to me about it. I feel betrayed and disgusted with her. It's like a switch was flipped in my mind and I just can't look at her the same way. Now for the updates. Update 1. Lots of questions, so I'll go ahead and answer a few that have been mentioned a few times. I'm not giving out my son's name. When we discussed the name, I had no idea it was her high school ex's name. I knew that she had one boyfriend in high school whose name was never told to me, and their relationship lasted around 2 years. I'm upset, but that doesn't automatically make me abusive. I would never raise my hand to my wife or anyone else I care about. I will always love my son, and I would never, and I mean never, treat him any differently. I will post an update when I talk to her, probably in a day or two. Update 2, so to get some things out of the way first. The kid is mine. I have very pronounced features that he also has, plus her ex was black and I'm white. I'm not going to throw him away as many comments have suggested. When we were deciding on the name, she said she remembered somebody from school who had it and instantly loved it. My wife and I both had a very promiscuous past before we met and agreed that the past should stay there, so I didn't push too hard to know certain details. I knew she had one boyfriend in high school who cheated on her, but I never asked his name, and that is my fault. So update time. Thursday we didn't have a discussion because that is her late day at work, plus this wasn't a discussion that I wanted to have with her son on the house. So Thursday night when she came in, I told her that Friday after work we needed to sit down and talk, and if she has any plans, she needs to cancel those. She looked very worried and said okay. Friday came, and we sat down after her sister came to pick up her son for a sleepover. I asked why would she not tell me where our name came from. She said she was sorry, but she didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I would not agree to it. I told her that it was my choice too, and she took that away from me. I asked her if she would feel the same way if we had a daughter and named her after one of my exes, and she said that's different. I wouldn't allow that to happen. She said that she knows that she can disconnect the name from her ex, but she wouldn't be so sure that I could do the same. I was floored and starting to feel sicker than I had felt. I told her that that is one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard come out of someone's mouth. I moved on because I had more questions and I was about to go off just on what she just said. I asked her if she still loved him, and she paused for a minute and then said yes, but not in the same way that she loves me, and that you don't just stop loving someone, that love changes. I wanted to throw up at this point. She could see that I was very upset. She smiled at me and said that I should know she only wants to be with me. I said that I needed to know how you love him. At that point she put her hand on my leg and tried to change the subject. I told her to take her effing hand off me right now and answer the question. Her mood changed right there from wanting to move past this to no, he didn't just effing cuss at me. She said, "Look, you're upset and I get that. But what is done, so you need to get over this and move on." She got up and said, "I'm meeting my mom for dinner. I'll see you when you get home." I told her, "If you walk out that door." Then no, you won't. She looked at me like it was full of crap, grabbed her purse and left. I packed my bag and stayed at a friend's house last night. Right now I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what to do next. Update 3. So I want to start out by saying thank you all for the support. Most of you guys have been great with the exception of a few trolls calling me a cuck. So I came home the next day after staying the night elsewhere. She didn't really say much to me other than hey, and went back to messing around on her laptop. I went upstairs and put my things in the guest room and lay down to take a nap because I didn't get much sleep the night before. She came in and asked what I was doing, and I told her that until she's ready to sit down and have an adult conversation about the name that I would be sleeping in here. She rolled her eyes and said that she thought that I got over and asked why I even bothered to come home if I was going to act like this. I told her because it is my home, and I'm not going to miss out on time with my son just because you don't have the ability to tell right from wrong, or at least admit it. She stormed off, and that was that for that day. The next day when I came home from work, she was on the couch waiting for me. She asked what it was going to take for us to get back to normal. I told her that we would need to see a marriage counselor first off and consider changing our son's name to his middle name. The look of rage on her face when I said that last part was something I don't think I've ever seen before. I hate to say it, but it made me a little happy to see it. She told me to go F myself, and that was never going to happen, and stormed off. We didn't talk the rest of the day. The next day I rolled around and my wife hadn't gotten home from work. Someone started knocking on the door, and it was her parents. They said we need to talk, so I invited them in, and we sat down. They said they know what she did was wrong, and they always knew, and so did her whole family and all of her friends. They apologized to me for keeping it a secret and said that they would agree with counseling and would be happy to pay for it. But changing his name is going too far. I told them thank you and that I haven't made that decision without a lot of consideration. I told them that you really don't know what you would do till you're in this situation. After a little more talking they left and asked me not to tell my wife they stopped by. I agreed. Shortly after they left, I called around and found a counselor and made an appointment that worked with both of our schedules. When my wife came, I told her about the appointment and that she just walked off without saying a word. Our appointment is Thursday, and I'm still sleeping in the guest room. That's what's been going on so far. Thank you guys, and I'll try to update you again when I can. And I just want to say that I'm not just going to up and change the name, it's something that I'm considering. I want to talk to the counselor first to see what impact it might have, if any, and how to go about it if there are none. Story 3. I, 40 male, discovered my wife's 38 female secret Instagram account, and I need help to cope. Secret for me, public knowledge for almost everyone else. Bear with me. So yesterday my sister visited me at home as I needed help with some work. As we took a coffee break, my sister became slightly serious and said to me, "You know, I'm starting to find it kind of weird that your wife doesn't have any pictures with you on her Instagram. Am I wrong?" Now, to my knowledge, until then, my wife's only Instagram account has like 10 pictures or so and a little above 100 followers. I answer that she barely uses the app and site whatever, so there's no point in having me plastered around for such a small family or close friends account. It was at that moment that my sister's face went Hollywood-like surprised as she says, "No man, I'm talking about her famous account. I don't see you in literally any pic there." My brain cannot comprehend anything as I look at her and just ask about what damn account is she talking about and what the F. Look on both me and my sister's faces during this conversation. She goes to her following list and shows me an account that indeed had my wife's face as a profile picture and a very shortened version of her normal Instagram's username. An account I've never seen before. She clicks it, and that's when my life goes full 2020. An account of my wife with more than 2,000 posts and more than 250,000 followers. My mind can't comprehend what I'm seeing. I immediately access my account and try to visit her profile with my login. Page not existing. I'm blocked by my own wife. I'm married to this woman for 18 years. We have 2 daughters. My mind is blank. I can't have any reaction whatsoever. We scroll and scroll from those posts. About half of them are SXY pics of her either at the beach, pool clubs, or backyard pools at some of her friends that I know and get along very well with personally, you name it. Wearing thongs, G-strings, thong swimsuits, topless covering with her hands, all the stuff that you can see on an account like this. She is with her daughters in some of the pictures, the normal pictures, and not the ones where she shows her body off. But my soul is sinking in as I realize that even my daughters know about this account and those pictures. Even in her clothed pictures she is braless most of the time and is not shy in showing that for the picture. I admit I am a slightly prid person in public. I don't enjoy being too much half naked at the beach and standing in the sun, but man, during those almost 20 years of relationship, my lack of beach-going passion was summed in probably 15 minutes of discussion in total. It was a non-subject. I've never made a big deal or deal whatsoever about her going to the beach if and when she wants to, or showing her body or anything else, never in my life. The subject doesn't exist. With me, I don't think she ever went bra-less, for example. Always wearing a good bra, a sports bra, you name it. In our rare outings together at the beach, she was in shorts or normal swimsuits. The only times when she could take these pictures was when I was away from the city or country for work for a few days or weeks, as I don't remember her going to random beaches, pools, or friends, etc. Only with her daughters or alone when I was at home. I try to see if I'm really the biggest loser on this planet. I try to verify which of her close friends, my or her co-workers, and everyone else in our circles know about this account. In our age group, no one. Well, almost no one, as we can see, acts like an Instagram star, so we have small accounts with a bunch of pics and a small number of followers. Following, so it was easy to search. None of my co-workers or the men in my family have her at follow, but I checked some of her co-workers, guys and girls, and those friends from her girl group or whatever that I don't really hang around with much, and they do have her famous account at follow. They know about this. We're 100% sure my sister shouldn't have known about this account and shouldn't have followed her either. That or she knew that my sister follows and just tried everything to be successful at hiding it from me and the people close to me, basically in plain sight. I scrolled through the last picture and they go since early 2017. So it's more than 3 years of this lie. Basically, I can say that I'm not even looking for relationship advice per se because it will probably take me a very long time to even fully comprehend the situation and try to open the subject. I'm more about looking for support in order to cope with the thought that my wife considers me less important than 250,000 subs, and whoever knows how many others saw her like this and all these pictures in real life without me having a clue since yesterday. I'm in a full-blown chat conference with my cis parents and all those who didn't know about this farce, thinking about what should I do, while forcing myself in a ridiculous way to act completely oblivious next to my wife and the kids. I need any advice and any comments you guys have, and thank you for reading. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for not congratulating my sister on her pregnancy? I honestly don't understand why everyone thinks I'm an a-hole here, so I thought I'd ask internet strangers. I, 25 female, went back home to visit my family before the holidays. I'm going abroad for a vacation during the actual holiday season, so this was the time that worked out best for me. My sister Anne, 22 female, is married, and I'll call her husband Rick, 23 male. Anne and Rick came over for dinner to see me, and Anne announced that she was pregnant with their first baby. Our parents knew I was the only one who didn't. I told her I was very happy and excited to be an aunt, and I hugged both Anne and Rick. I noticed everyone was looking at me a bit strangely, and I was like, what did I do? Anne said, I didn't say congratulations. I am absolutely weirded out by this concept, so I said I was happy. What else am I supposed to say? Here is where I may be the a-hole. I said, congratulations, you got a baby in your uterus. Anne looked at me strangely and asked me what the F was wrong with me. I was like, what the actual HLL is wrong with you? Since when does having sex and getting knocked up get congratulations? Celebration sure, but congratulations. My parents said that they were disappointed in me, and Anne said I was a lost cause and wished my future wife a lot of patience, which is weird in itself. Was it such a big deal? Did I mess up? Edit, in case it matters, I was diagnosed with ASD at age 16. My family never had anything negative to say about it though. According to my parents, that's even why I excelled academically. Now for the comments. Curious, is she wearing a wedding band in the photos? I know she actively hid the account from you, but is she also hiding the fact that she is married from her followers? That would tell me more about how far this lie is going. Putting your kids' faces out there on that kind of account is also a red flag. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Definitely the big problem here is that she kept it a secret and had you blocked. Sounds like she didn't want to have the discussion of whether you would have a problem with it, so she just avoided it. Even if it was going to be a difficult one, she needed to have this conversation with you 3+ years ago. I don't know if you might have said things in the past that made her feel like she needed to cover up around you, but she really needs to explain why she feels that way to you. Otherwise, there's no way to come to an understanding. It sounds like you wouldn't even have a problem with her dressing less conservatively. The problem is that she was keeping it a secret. It's one of those things that can be completely innocent in nature, unless the person keeps it a secret. And then you really have to wonder why they felt that they needed to. I don't know if you might have said things in the past that made her feel like she needed to cover up around you, but she really needs to explain why she feels that way towards you. This is a good point that led me to think that ops should try to think about what was going on in their lives and relationship 3 years ago. That may be a clue as to why she did this. Was their relationship rocky at the time? Was she feeling insecure? Did he say or do something that would justify in her mind at least why she would do this?